Can you give us the construct of how you will deconstruct the racism that was built into the roadways that you talked to the griot earlier when you broke that information with us? Can you talk to us about how that could be deconstructed?
For sure, yes. I'm still surprised that some people were surprised when I pointed to the fact that if a highway was built for the purpose of dividing a white and a black neighborhood, or if an underpass was constructed such that a bus carrying mostly Black and Puerto Rican kids to a beach, or there would have been, in New York was designed too low for it to pass by, that obviously reflects racism that went into those design choices. I don't think we have anything to lose by confronting that simple reality, and I think we have everything to gain by acknowledging it and then dealing with it, which is why the Reconnecting Communities, that $1 billion, is something we want to get to work right away putting to work.
But that's such a heavy lift. I mean, you have to reconstruct communities that this happened to. As you said, some of these beltways and interstates and roadways were built before the Civil Rights Act, before the Voting Rights Act, and were meant to be racist. But how do you go about redefining and replanning these roadways and communities that are already settled in since then?
So what's interesting is it's going to vary by community, and we have to listen to the community. Sometimes it really is the case that an overpass went in a certain way that is so harmful that it's got to come down or maybe be put underground. Other times, maybe it's not that way. Maybe the really important thing is to connect across it, to add rather than subtract. And that's where we don't want to impose a one-size-fits-all answer from here. But when we were out in Syracuse, for example, looking at I-81, we saw the local vision for how they want to get past those divisions. And those local ideas are going to be taken very seriously as we try to meet the spirit of this law.
Quote, can you give us
the construct of how you will deconstruct the racism that was built into the roadways?
End quote. Roads can't be racist. You can't build racism into a road. Overpasses in New York were designed to keep buses of Black and Puerto Rican kids from getting to the beach. And yet here's the amazing part. Those very same overpasses somehow allow buses full of white kids to get through. That sounds like magic. How does it work?
We're here to hit the gas on a plan to mitigate the harmful effects of the Cross Bronx Expressway. The criteria is to that goes to the top of the list is undoing environmental injustice. So that's what makes this project way at the top of the list.
The legacy of Robert Moses.
We continue to be haunted by the ghost of Robert Moses.
I know a lot of Americans are worried whether or not there's going to be enough stock on the shelves for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, where they're going to be able to get what you need. One of the things I did several months ago was speed up the operation on the ports on the West Coast that have 40% of all the goods that come through the Pacific Ocean. And we moved way along in terms of getting more products in and letting people know that they're going to be available. The bottom line is all the folks I spoke with, not just the East Coast, but the West Coast, they just all are confident that things are going to be much different Thanksgiving and a much different Christmas this year. And so the expectation is it's not going to be like this time last year. You're going to be able to get to the store, get to your place, get to the outlets you're looking for, get the products you need, the gifts you want, as well as the legislation that we're about to pass, God willing, on what's called Build Back Better. We're in a situation where there's a lot of anxiety. Gas prices are up exceedingly high. They've been up this season. Now, I think I'm supposed to introduce somebody, but I'm not sure who am I supposed to introduce now. I'm joking. I know. I get you guys confused, you know? Come on. Let me ask the staff, what are we supposed to do now? We doing a photograph?
We're giving you the jersey.
Give me a jersey. Oh, all right.
It makes a big difference how we end this war. And it makes a big difference to tell the American people the truth about what our options are in ending this war. If tomorrow, I'm President of the United States, I issue an order, end the war today, begin to withdraw all American troops. It will take a year to get the American troops out. Do you hear me now? That's the truth. It will take a year to get them physically out. Now, if you leave all the equipment behind, you might be able to do it in 7 months. And you leave those billions of dollars of weapons behind, I promise they're going to be used against your grandchild and mine someday.
Judge, you just said this bill and the passage of it could not come at a more urgent time. So do you know when President Biden plans to sign this bill?
I'd have to refer you to my White House colleagues on that, but I'll tell you that I'll be there with bells on.
But he has not signed the bill yet, right?
Okay.
And can you talk talk about what the campaign to sell this bill is going to look like, given it will take time for some of these projects to actually go into effect and to be completed, and the White House is 1 year out from the midterms, of course, which they have tied this bill to?
Well, I expect that that'll be led by the president traveling to show where the need is and where the action is. But I'm certainly eager to be part of that effort.
Some family leave. That's something you can talk to about the benefits of that. And then number one, and then number two, given your experience, do you think that it should be a red line for the president to keep that in there so that all Americans have access to that benefit?
Well, the president put forward a framework that he's confident can pass the House and the Senate. I think it's also no secret how I feel about family leave and how the president does, which is why he proposed it, I think campaigned on it, and will continue to fight for it. And the importance of it is that it's, it's not, it's talked about as time off. It's time to do work. Good work, joyful work, meaningful work, but it's time to do important work.